So there I was at a Fit for an Autopsy show, biding time till the guys went up on stage, and I heard something heavy that I liked. I got closer to the stage and I didn't like it. I loved it. It wasn't just heavy, it was like a wave of intensity that engulfed me. And watching Ingested that night, I became such a huge Ingested fan. Welcome to the Scandalous Podcast, Jason from Ingested. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. It's nice to be here. Yeah. Thank you for your kind words as well. I appreciate you being a fan. Was that the show Come and Take It?
Yeah, it was the show Come and Take It. And I just randomly started talking to you and I was like, you are great. I like you. You're cool. And you had such great vibes. It was very fun talking to you. And I was like, God, I would love to have you on the podcast. It would be so fun to talk to you. So we're doing it. I'm excited.
Yeah, here I am.
Yay.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah. So what are all the things in the background? So I see little figurines.
These things?
Yeah. What are those?
Oh, right. Well, I'm a massive nerd. So these are my Warhammers. These are my Warhammers. So basically what I do is I'll either go to like the Warhammer shop and pay a fucking ridiculous price for like some little plastic men that not only do I have to put together myself, but I also have to fucking paint them, and they're like 30 quid a pop for like 5 of them. Or like this one, this big bastard here, I've got a 3D printer like in the corner of the room over there. So I just fucking printed this one myself for like 50p. Didn't even cost a quid.
Wow.
But if I was to buy that in the Warhammer shop, it'd cost me like fucking 90 quid.
Wow.
It didn't even cost me £1 to print that off myself.
Wow.
So that's
crazy. Okay. So like you're the first person I've ever known to have a 3D printer. So
really
use it for everything. Yeah. Like that I've ever talked to that's not on a documentary. Like that's cool.
They are cool. They're really cool. And the only reason I got one was because Warhammer is so fucking expensive. And I was just like, I can't justify spending like 30 odd quid on 5 little fucking men that are about this big. I was like, I'm going to fucking print them myself.
There you go.
So you can just get like shit that it's not Warhammer. Like, it's not actually like Warhammer, but it's like little demons and little space marines and shit like that. So it's good enough.
That's cool. That's super funny. So you are a nerd. That's awesome.
I am a massive nerd, yeah. I'm a massive nerd. I play fucking Dungeons and Dragons. I fucking play Warhammer.
Oh, there you
go. I fucking play computer games all the fucking time.
Yeah.
I watch fucking Conan the Barbarian on repeat. Like, yeah, that's...
That's funny. So you're big into Twitch, I believe, correct?
Yeah, well, I was, and then my computer. Like, I'm doing this now. I've just bought a new computer. Not last week, the week before, and basically my old computer that I used to stream on, it like blew up pretty much like last year. So basically, like whenever I was trying to do anything on my old computer, I had about 30 minutes, and then it would just and just shut off, and then I won't be able to turn it back on or anything. So I've been saving up, and now I've got myself a beasto PC with a nice new chair, a desk, a monitor. I've got one of them curved monitors and shit. Like, so yeah, so I'm gonna start Twitch streaming again very shortly.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, but yeah, I loved Twitch streaming. Did it for about a year, like throughout the pandemic, and then obviously the PC decided that we weren't going to do that anymore. But yeah, I loved it. Like, we had a nice little community on there. Like, everybody was dead friendly. The community, even though I've not been Twitch streaming for about, I don't know, it must be about 3/4 of a year now. That's how long it's took me to save up. Been saving up all my pocket money for a new PC. Yeah, exactly. So it's like I can't really spend on myself that much. But
yeah,
this was my treat. I've been working hard. We've been touring loads. We've been recording loads of music. This was a treat to myself just to say, do you know what, Jason? Good work, mate. Good work. You've worked hard this year. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, even though I've not Twitch streamed for about, I don't know, it must be about 9-10 months, the community still all have a group chat together. They still all talk to each other and stuff like that. Like, so it's really cool. So I can't wait to get back to it, really, to be honest. I miss it loads. So yeah, that's going to be coming soon. So watch this space if you're in the Twitch universe.
That's awesome. So besides Twitch playing, I always love to ask people because I've talked about it for a while. Like I know a lot of people do interviews on Twitch. Do you watch anything besides gaming on Twitch at all or no?
Yeah, I watch like a couple of like music Twitch streamers. Like I watch Samus. He plays drums. Like I watch him with my son actually. Because my 3-year-old son has got a drum kit. He's literally got like it's like an adult's electric drum kit. But you can, because it's an electric one, you can like scale it down. Mm-hmm. So my 3-year-old plays on that. There's some videos on my Instagram of him playing his drums. But yeah, so I watch Samus with my son. Who else do I watch? Obviously I watch Matt Heafy. I watch Chainbrain as well. He's pretty cool. Other than that, apart from gaming stuff, I watch Critical Role, which is Dungeons and Dragons, which is really good.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I was doing the whole like nod, smile.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, that thing. That, yeah.
Yeah, Critical Role. I'm basically just watching other nerds play Dungeons and Dragons, basically. Yeah. So when I'm not playing Dungeons and Dragons, I'm watching people play Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, there you go. Well, it was just funny to me when you were like, I'm a self-proclaimed nerd, because I'm recently dating again, and it's super funny, like dating apps, things like that. A lot of people are like, nerd, I'm a nerd, and like, you have to figure out like what you are. And like, I'm just not one. So
yeah, and that's okay.
That's okay. Right. Oh yeah, I think I'm fine. I think I bring lots to the table too. I'm totally fine. But it's like funny, the different categories of the little things. And it's like, would I understand this? Would I know what he's talking about? And it's like, no.
just go, yeah.
Not all.
Yeah. That's cool. Like, just nod and smile. That's what I do when I don't know what people are talking about. I just go, yeah.
Lots of that with fans all over the world, I'm sure. Like, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Especially when you're in somewhere where English isn't the first language. And because you can tell, like, if you can tell how enthusiastic someone is, even if you're not speaking the same language. So it's like, I don't want to be rude and make them repeat themselves over and over again or talk slower or anything like that. But I can feel how enthusiastic they are about the conversation that we're attempting to have. So I want to be enthusiastic back. Do you know what I mean? So you just go, yeah, man, sick.
That's so funny. Yeah, you do always wonder when bands go to countries that don't speak English. It's like, how do you communicate? And like when people go to, like Japan or something like that, incredible tours happen there, different countries where you just don't understand the language. So it's really interesting when bands can go there and still interact with the crowd. And it's funny, is this true or not, that the fans, like, they may not speak English, but they sing the music in English?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. That's definitely. Like that happened. I was like, is that how that happens?
Yeah, that's definitely a thing. That is 100% a thing. Because we've been in, because I mean, where's the furthest out we've been? I mean, most, like, we've not toured Asia. Mm-hmm. So the furthest out we've been is probably Russia. And a lot of people speak English there, but like a lot of them don't. But yeah, they're all singing the words. They're all singing the words. And then you have a conversation. You'll like, because you recognize people's faces in the crowds. And then you have a conversation with them at the merch table and you can't speak English, but they were singing every single word in English. So it's like, I'm like, oh God, you don't even know what you're singing, do you?
That is interesting.
With some of our older songs, that can be a bit dicey.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's like a testament to metal of what it makes you feel. Because exactly. Like I felt the music and I was like, oh, that's heavy. I like that.
Exactly.
And then I went to go watch you guys and I was like, this is cool. I like that.
Well, that's the thing I love about metal is it's not, I mean, obviously you listen to it, but it's something that you, like, for me, well, me anyway, I can't speak for everyone, obviously, but for me, it's something that I feel. Like if I'm gonna be a fan of a band, I don't just. It's not just like, oh yeah, that's sick. It's like I have to feel it, and I have to like connect with like the lyrics or the atmosphere of the song. I mean, like even if it's not got any. Excuse me. Excuse me. Sorry about
Very good.
that. Yeah.
I do
even if
that
it's-
like once a podcast. I usually accidentally burp like once a podcast, and like I hear it, no one else knows it happened, and I freeze and I hold, and I'm like, yep.
Mine was a bit loud. I'm on these
Oh,
non-alcohol. I'm on these. I don't drink, so I'm on these non-alcoholic beers because
I
I still like the taste.
Well, so I've cut down my drinking like a lot. My car was in the shop for like a few months, and I just didn't want to Uber and like waste money for what.
Yeah.
So now my tolerance is like, whoa. And like I won't drink for like a week or two, and then I go out, and then it's just like very hard. It's very uncontrollable.
Yeah.
So now I'm at a place where I'm like not drinking as much because like I used to have a tolerance. Now I just never know where it's going to be. But
Well-
I typically like have a drink like during the interviews, and I didn't get one. I just like had a coffee, but I saw yours and I was like, I want a beer.
It's not a real beer though.
Okay.
That's the trick.
Yeah. Okay.
It's fake beer. I have fake beer.
Okay.
And I have pretend weed as well in here. So because I can't drink anymore and I can't smoke weed anymore, so I have non-alcoholic beers.
Yeah.
And I have CBD in my vape. So I just like pretend that I'm having a great time all the time.
That's so funny. Because when I met you, I offered, I was like, yeah, can I buy you a drink? And you're like, oh, I don't drink. And yeah, I remember. I feel less awkward not drinking now than I did when I first met you. It would be hard for me to be at a show and like not have a drink, to be totally honest, because I'm just used to drinking at shows.
Yeah.
So I'm in a weird, funny process where I'm like drinking less, and but I saw that little beer bottle, and I saw that little beer bottle, and I was like, oh, I want to drink during the interview.
Nah, it's not real. Don't be jealous.
Okay.
Just pretend. Blue label.
Okay, there you go.
But yeah, it's all about balance, isn't it? Like it's like, do you know what I mean? But unfortunately, I have a personality where I can't be balanced with things like that. So it's like I'm either all or nothing. So it's either I'm getting shit faced or I'm teetotal. So I'm teetotal. For the best.
I have a band that I'm like best friends with, and they were in town, and it was like my first party night out, like kind of like since I got my car back, like first band, like first show. And it was just a very wild night. It was just, that was like my big drinking night out. And that was wild because it was like shot.
Oh my
and just
God.
not having that tolerance, I think was the first time I was ever like, whoa.
If I tell you what, right? If I had like an alcoholic drink like now, I'd be arseholed after like one. Like my tolerance will have just gone to shit now because I'm not drunk now for.
Well, yay, Bex.
What, about two years, maybe?
Really?
Maybe 2 years? Yeah, I think so.
Good for you.
Like that. So yeah. So I reckon it like one would put me on the ground now. But back in the day, it'd be all day. We'd wake up because you're on tour. And you ain't got shit to do, especially when you tour in America and the drives are like fucking 17 hours and you're sat in a van and you're just like, well, there's just desert everywhere. It's like nothing's changing for like 7-hour drive. So you just wake up and you just start drinking in the van and then you'll be drinking the whole way to the next show. You get to the show, you set everything up. Then you've got to wait for however long until you play. So then, well, what else is there to do? Better carry on drinking. And then after the show, everybody's like, whoa. So then it's like, oh, well, better have another beer. And then, do you know what I mean? So it's like you're drinking all day. Like, but now, nah, no chance. I couldn't do it now.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it now. But on the flip side, I play better. Like, we're better as performers. We're better as a band. And I'm not turning my brain into cheese every day.
Yep. And to that point, I've been telling everyone about it. I found these like, oh, send you the link, whatever. But I found these pills on Amazon and they're like liver support. And I've been sending them to like all my friends and they're like a supplement. And all the reviews are of people who, oh, I was in liver failure. Oh, I was in dialysis or something like that. I started taking these and like my liver function like drastically improved. So like everyone I know that like we drink or like did drink or something like that, because you worry about your liver for sure.
Yeah.
I'll send you the link for sure. I just tell everyone about these new pills I found because every time I like wake up with a hangover or something, I'm like, oh, pop these,
So you can just grow your liver back.
Yeah. There you go. I mean, I don't know. It's so whatever. We'll get back to the podcast. But
yeah.
It is kind of funny when you have that like as your identity and like you always think of yourself as someone who drinks. And it's like, I don't know, just going back and forth, thinking about that a lot.
Yeah.
So, there you go. So for those who don't know Ingested, because I do a mix of rock and metal music on my podcast, I want to hear your description of how heavy Ingested is. Like when the average person is like, oh, you're in a band, that's cool. Like, what's the name of your band? I want to look it up. And you kind of have to have an elevator speech, like to like, someone down the street, like, so it's really heavy, it's called Ingested, the average person who maybe isn't into death metal, like what's your elevator speech? How do you describe Ingested?
I usually just start laughing. because when they go, oh, you're in a band. Oh, what's your band called? I'm like, Ingested. I'm like, oh, what sort of music do you play? Is it like rock? I'm like, oh dear, you're gonna be in for a shock, because it's for me. We've changed so much like over our career, because we're like 16 years old now. Like the band's like 16 years old. Now, well, let's start at the beginning. If you were to go back to our first albums, like when we first came on the scene, I would say we were the most brutal, the most nasty, like death metal band on the planet. We were vicious, like absolutely vicious. But as we've grown as like songwriters and musicians in a band, we've started incorporating like loads of stuff. So we've still got that filthy heaviness and that aggression and that brutality. But now we've got like this melody in there. These like dark, atmospheric melodies like mixed in with all this brutal, foreboding heaviness. And it's I'm just buzzing at the moment. I just can't wait to get our new music out, because it's unlike anything that we've ever done before. So that's how I would say: crushing, unrelenting, darkly
Beautiful.
Atmospheric death metal. That's what I would say.
Absolutely. And I guess it's atmospheric. But I've listened to the new tracks and they are really beautiful. And like is it the Ashes Lie Still intro that's really like beautiful?
Yeah, we had Julia singing on that. Julia Frau. She's our engineer's Nico. She's his girlfriend. Awesome. And she's a professional singer in Mallorca. And she just again added something to our weapons arsenal that we've never had before. So it gave us a new tool to play with, which I think, like you said, it sounds beautiful, but it's so heavy as well. And it's that juxtaposition between like her, how would I describe it? Ethereal vocal, and then like the crushing heaviness of the music, and then my vocals like clashing with that. I just think it sounds amazing.
I do too. It's really beautiful. And that's one thing I love about metal as well, is the intensity and the beauty in it. And there, I don't know, like maybe it was like 2, 3 weeks ago, but I'm one of those people, like I do film, like when I'm at concerts, I'm annoying and I do it. But like there's a lot of times like if I'm sad or like lonely or like feeling something, I go back and like lay in bed and like listen to like and rewatch like death metal concert videos. And
Yeah.
they're like oddly satisfying and soothing to me. So I'll be like literally laying in bed with my dogs on me and just like laying in bed, like listening to death metal. And it is absolutely like soothing to me.
Yeah, because it takes you back to a happy place.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's going back to what we were talking about before. It's about having that connection with the band and their music and how the song feels rather than what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's so important. Like it is to me. Like, and I it's one of them things where it's like the way we write lyrics in Ingested is that we all like nowadays, like on our past few albums, our lyrical concepts way more personal. Like because me and Sean like share the lyric writing. Even Lynn wrote some lyrics on the new album. But it's like we write from our personal experiences and our feelings and stuff that's going on in our lives and around us and our worries and our fears and stuff like that. But then it's like, it's about writing that in a way where it's not so on the nose what it is that we're talking about, so that if somebody's listening to it, they can interpret it in any way that they want. Like, so if they're listening to it and they're struggling with something or they're dealing with something or experiencing something, and they read these lyrics or hear these words and listen to the song, and then they connect with that and think, oh, that applies to what I'm going through right now, and that helps them in any little small way. Like, to me, that's like the greatest gift a band can give anyone, really. Like, you know, a fucking lifeline in dark times, because everybody goes through it. Do you know what I mean? Everybody has shit times. Everybody feels like they're in dark places at one time or another. And like, if our music and our band can like help anyone in any small way, like I said, that's the best gift that we could ever do.
Absolutely. And it wouldn't be worth dedicating your life to if it was any other way, and it would be so empty.
Yeah, well, I mean,
it wasn't like that.
We definitely don't do it for the money. It took me 10 months to save up for a PC.
For sure. Well, and you have kids, like you said that, and I thought about like my dogs are more insured than I am.
Yeah.
Like I won't take myself to the doctor. I'm like, God, it's gonna be like $400. Like my dog just had like one small thing wrong with him like a week ago. It was like $400. So it's like, oh, for my child, absolutely.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Straight away.
Yeah. They have like, of course, for him, like for me, I'll think about it for 6 months. So it's just priorities of like, people to take care of, It's funny. Well, we're getting closer to the release of your next full-length album, Ashes Lie Still. Tell us about the imagery of the artwork. Does it mean anything specific to you besides just looking cool?
Well, this was quite interesting the way that we came about with this artwork. Because usually we have like a specific concept, like with all our other album covers, apart from the very first one. We like, one of us will design it. One of us will have an idea, do a rough sketch. Everybody will like, we'll pass it around and say like, oh, what do you think? And then it might be like, change this, add this, or what about this? Like blah, blah, blah. And then at the end of that, at the end of the brainstorming, we'll have a rough idea, and then we'll send it to an artist, and then they'll recreate it. But with this one, the artist that we commissioned to do the artwork for the album is called David Seidman. And what he does is he does custom like commissions for like 80s movie posters, you know, like in those old styles, but they're all like custom ones that he does for like all 80s movies and stuff. And our guitarist Sean's like big into collecting them. And he's shown us, like, we've seen his these posters all over his house and stuff. And basically we were all like, we should get this guy to do the artwork, like, because his artwork is just insane. It's just so good. And so Sean got in contact with him anyway. And then because he's such a good artist, we just wanted to see what he would do. So we sent him the concepts of the songs, the concepts of the album, the lyrics, sent him all of that, and just said, this is the name of the album. Go for it. And then he came back with that, and we were blown away. We were absolutely blown away. And it's the colors in it, something that we've never done. We've never had an album that looks like that. Never. So it's totally, it's like, with this being our Metal Blade debut, it's like it's a fresh start. So we've started with something, we've gone completely out of our comfort zone with not being so controlling over the concept of the artwork. We've just let this artist fly with it. We've told him what the album's about. Here's the lyrics. What do you think that would represent this? And we let him go with the colors. And yeah, it's just like, it's like wiping the slate clean, going completely out of our comfort zone and starting afresh in our new home. And yeah, so to me, I guess it represents, that album cover represents new beginnings and a new home. That's what the future potential and possibilities, that's what it represents to me.
That is so exciting. So I'm an empath, and just like listening to you and like looking at you, I feel uplifted. I feel hopeful. I can see like the light in your eyes. I feel free. Like I feel like there's air flowing up, below me. That, I feel inspired by that.
Thank you. Well, I'm feeling really positive about it. Like, I'm just excited. I'm just excited to see where we go next. I mean, we've got a new management team behind us. We've got a new record label behind us. Our booking agents all over the world are amazing. Like, we've got such a good team behind us now, and this is a team that it's took years to build. Like, and it's all like about just amazing working relationships, trust, and loyalty. Like, we don't keep a very big circle in Ingested. We have a very, very small circle, very close knit, and there's a lot of trust. And yeah, it feels good. I'm just excited to see where we go now. We've got a busy year as well. We've got the album coming out. We've got Lorna Shore tour. We've got Cannibal Corpse tour. It's crazy. Like, the stuff's moving fast, and I'm just excited for it. I'm just here for it. It's like, do you know what I mean? It's been a hard, long 16 years of eating shit, basically. Eating shit and learning to like the taste of it. And now it's like, things are starting to happen, and I'm just super excited. I feel like we deserve it and we've earned it. Like, so I just want to keep the ball rolling, keep working hard. Like, it's like I always say, like, I don't want to like blow smoke up my own ass or anything, but we're one of the hardest working bands in the scene. We're always on tour, we're always writing, we're always recording. Like, and now hopefully that hard work is gonna start paying off. Like, it's exciting. It's an exciting time to be an Ingested, and it's an exciting time to be an Ingested fan, because we got so much in the pipeline for all our fans all over the world. It's gonna be wild.
If I wasn't a fan before, for life, I am now. I mean, oh my God. Like, I just watched a Tom Hanks movie. Like, that's how happy I am. I'm like, oh God, it's great. That's awesome. Well, I want to talk about Metal Blade too. I was going to do it a little bit later, but let's do it now. Like, what a gift to our industry. And it's really like impossible to quantify what they've done for bands, what they've done for fans.
Yeah.
What do you think, like, or could you talk about, you know, like the Beast and like how, you know, just their impact on the industry as you see it?
I mean, they're a legendary. They're a legendary record label. Like, look at the bands that have come and gone, and the bands that have stayed as well, that are still there. I mean, their resume like speaks for itself. Like, they are literally, in my eyes, the most legendary metal record label in history. They're still independent as well, which is amazing. And yeah, I mean, look at the current roster: Cannibal Corpse, Whitechapel, Revocation, Black Dahlia Murder, Job for a Cowboy, Killswitch Engage. Like, the list goes on. Ingested, obviously. It's madness. Like, but I'll tell you, hello, Ingested here. But like, I mean, it's like the one thing that, I mean, let's say, so like when we started the band like 16 years ago, and even the band that we were before, so in like 2004 when we were Age of Suffering, like, so that was like 18 years ago, and that was when we really started the band that would become Ingested. We've always wanted to be on Metal Blade. If you'd ever asked us, or what's your dream record label? Metal Blade all the time. Because they're just the one, aren't they? I mean, there's Nuclear Blast and Century Media and Napalm and Roadrunner and stuff, but for us, it's always been Metal Blade. And then to end up on Metal Blade, which was like our dream record label, it's like, honestly, I can't even put into words how happy we were about it. And this was like, so basically our contract on our old record label, Unique Leader, come to an end. And we were just like, oh, well, don't really know what we're going to do here. Like, what should we do? And we were floating some ideas around. And then we got contacted by Ryan from Metal Blade. And he said, oh, I've heard that you're out of contract. We should talk. And we were like, what the fuck? We were like, yes, we should. And yeah, and we got the deal done. And I'll tell you what, like, they couldn't have made us feel any more welcome than they have. Like, they've been an absolute pleasure to work with on every level, like on a personal level, a business level. They've been fantastic. They're so supportive. They're there whenever you need them. Like, if you've ever got any questions, if you ever need any support with anything, whatever you need, they'll be there for you. They're absolutely fantastic. And the job that they've done with the new album is just great. Like, so yeah, I feel like this, I feel hopeful that this is going to be our home for a very, very long time. And I think it's the beginning of a very fruitful relationship. Very excited. Very, very excited. I think things can only go up from here. So, yeah.
And we could end that was beautiful. We could just end the podcast right there. We're not going to. We're going to keep going. But I'm just like, I feel like I just watched the end of the movie and I feel happy. That's awesome. Well, I'm so happy for you guys, and they are the best, and you're rolling with the best. So that's you made it. You're doing it. That's awesome.
Well, this is the thing, though. This means that it's like we think, oh yeah, we've worked hard to get it, but now is where the real hard work begins, because now we have to improve on everything that we've done, better everything that we've done before. Work harder, go bigger, go harder. And yeah, nothing's gonna stop the Ingested train ever. Like, we're gonna be doing this until we're in the grave. We can't do anything else. We were literally made to do this. Like, I don't want to do anything else. I can't do anything else. This is what I'm supposed to do. So just a good job that I love it.
Well, okay. Well, to end on that, I didn't think about this, and I should have messaged. You- I don't know. This makes me laugh. Could you like give us like one metal growl real quick, just to like one? There you go.
What's that?
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, that was lovely. I should have, if I was going to ask for that, I should have like messaged in advance. I was like, but like, can we end it on a metal growl?
End it on a gurgle.
Yeah, exactly. See, yeah, like I'm so funny as a woman. Like I hear that growl and I just start giggling. And I'm like, oh, great. So cute. I love it. So let's talk some of the new music. So I'm going to read the lyrics I like the most off of the song Tides of Glass.
Yeah.
Gotta love those lyrics, guys. If you didn't have them, how would you know? But kind of what we were talking about, I really do like lay in bed and like listen to that music and the lyrics and the melody and everything. It just like hits me and I do feel it. So I just want to kind of talk about the lyrics.
Yeah,
so my favorite lyrics from Tides of Glass: look now, where are we? Clawing for air where you buried me. Look now, no more hiding. Could you be my angel on tides of broken glass?
Yeah.
So it's a love song, right?
Sort of. It's it's kind of a love song. It's about addiction. It's about addiction and going down to the depths and losing everything. And then what it is that you have to do to claw your way back up out of that grave. Because when you get down to the bottom, there's only two choices. You either keep digging or you climb out. And that's what that song's about. That it was I mean, everybody, like a lot of people deal with addiction. And I had to deal with it. And I got to a point where I did lose everything. I lost everything. I lost my family. I lost my band. I lost my friends because of it. And I had to hit that low and realize what I'd lost, and then realize that, well, if I keep going, there's only one more thing that I can lose. It's my fucking life. Like, so, but luckily, I clawed my way out. I realized that I do have value and I do have worth. And I had to fight and claw my way back out of that hole. And I had to fight and claw to get everything back, which luckily I did. And yeah, it was a shit time, and that's what that song's about, really. I mean, I don't want to go all depressive and shit on the podcast and that, but that is what the song's about. It's a very dark song. Like, it's really dark. It's very lonely, and I think the music, not only the lyrics, but the music encapsulates that feeling of desperation, that feeling of sadness and loss, and yeah, and then the video as well. Like the video, like, because that video is just like empty, and that's what we wanted it to feel like, because that is what it feels like when you're there. That's what it felt like for me anyway. I felt empty. I felt like I had nothing. I'd lost everything, and there was nothing left. And yeah, I think the music video, the lyrics, the atmospherics of the song, the music of the song, it all complements each other perfectly. And I think it really does hit home, that song. Like, it makes, like, I mean, you'd think it'd make me feel like sad or whatever, but it makes me feel hopeful and joyful that, you know, you can come out of it. You can come out of that. Like, even when you're at the lowest and you think, like, you know, oh, I'm worthless and all that shit, and you have these dark thoughts and stuff, it's like, well, no, I want people who are listening and feeling that way, I want them to listen to it and be like, I do have value. I do have self-worth, and I can come out of this. Because at the end of the day, it's like it's only you that can make that choice. And that's what that's about.
Well, first of all, I love to go dark. And there's kind of like a funny saying or like something I've heard, and I don't know, like where I heard it or like where we talked about it or something like that. But it's like, it's really funny. Like sometimes when there are like really dark lyrics and really dark songs or something like that, and like someone tells you like, oh, I really resonate with that song, or like, oh, I really get what you're talking about here. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry you've gone through it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry you understand what I'm talking about. Like,
yeah.
I heard a funny, I don't know where it came from, but like, it's kind of a funny thing. Like when you do get to the point of like understanding the meaning and like those lyrics and like feeling that way, it's like, I'm sorry you've gone through
it's
that.
Like, shit. Well,
yeah.
Sorry.
No, but it's right. I definitely have recently, like super recently, for the first time where I really feel it. Like I really felt it like the past week and a half.
Yeah.
Out of like, I've been like getting myself like out of this hole for like a long time. It was like a long time coming. And I really feel like within like the past week, like I'm back. Like same girl I was like 4 years ago.
That's how it happens though.
Yeah.
It's like you have a moment of clarity. It's like, yeah, like I don't want to like, it's not like it's like an epiphany, isn't it? It's like you have a moment of realization and then everything.
Yeah.
It's as soon as you make, for me, as soon as I made that conscious choice, I'm not going to do this anymore. And I want to get everything back. Yeah. From that moment on, my outlook was so much more positive that instead of spiraling down, I was climbing up. And like, I think it's like you said, it happens so quick. It's just all it takes is that one moment of clarity for you to realize, and then you make that choice. And then things do start getting better.
Yeah. And I would like, it wasn't like a week. It's been like 6 months. I've been like 6 months or more, like maybe even 8 or maybe a year. I've been like working on, just like kind of just mentally like getting back to like where I was. So I wouldn't say, I wouldn't want to be like, yeah, it's a week, but I would say like, it's been about a week since I've been like, I'm back, baby. I'm back. So excited. But like that song, like now that you explained it like that, I get it.
Yeah.
And like, I understand that. And I'm really glad we're talking about it. And that's really beautiful because I'm really glad to know that that song is kind of, the epitome of, you can either keep going and this isn't great, or you can just like stop.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's called Tides of Glass. Because it's like that what you have to swim through, what you have to crawl through to get to where you want to be. And it's not hard. I mean, it's not easy. It's hard, but it's worth it. And I'm glad you're feeling better. I'm very glad to hear that.
I'm so happy. I really am. And the title track, Ashes Lie Still, I kind of wanted to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I love these lyrics. So I just wanted to read these lyrics because I'm such a lyrics girl. I have guitar players and like drummers on all the time, but I don't play. So, love to talk about the lyrics. So the thing you praise is fucking deceptive. His nerve is worthless and wretched. Clutching at the glass, but losing my grip, the image of you begins to slip. So what does that song mean to you?
So that song, Sean wrote the lyrics for this.
Okay.
It's the title track of the album. And basically, when we were on tour, it was the last show of this tour that we were on before it got cancelled because of the COVID pandemic and stuff, and everything went into lockdown. And literally on that day, a few hours before we had to go on stage, Sean, our guitarist, got a phone call saying that his father had passed away, which obviously was fucking devastating. And basically, he wasn't able to mourn or get closure with a proper funeral or wake or anything because it was in the middle of the lockdown. So he wasn't even able to say goodbye properly to his father, because like they weren't allowed to have a wake or like a proper funeral or anything. So that's what that song's about. I can't really go into many specifics because obviously it's a song that's personal to Sean.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's pretty much the gist of what that song is about. The song's called Ashes Lie Still because his father's ashes lay still because they weren't able to have a proper funeral, which is, again, it's this album's like, it's very dark, it's very emotional, but it's more than anything, it's very real. Like, it's a really real album. Like, I mean, like in a genre like death metal, where it's like most bands sing about bloody murder or gore or fucking wizards and goblins and shit like that. It's like we're singing about real shit, like shit that's going on, like shit that we've had to deal with and shit that we've experienced and shit that most importantly, shit that not just us have to deal with, shit that everybody has to deal with, shit that a lot of people have to experience. And you know, it only felt right that was the title track, that was the title track of the album.
I love that. See, if you have some pain, go get you some Ingested. And I think that's wonderful. I really do.
This album's it's been very cathartic for all three of us, really. And like I said before, I hope I just hope it helps people. Yeah. Really. Like, I mean, yeah, it's fucking, there's some banging tunes on there and everything. Like, all the songs are sick on it, but it's like, more than anything, I hope it helps people.
Yeah.
In the way that making the album has helped us. Like, it's helped us get over a lot of shit. It's helped us deal with a lot of shit. Like, just singing about these things and writing songs about these things and performing these songs live, it's just like, it's like a weight off your shoulders. Feels like you're getting a lot off your chest. And you know, I mean, we came into this album, all three of us, with like pretty heavy hearts, and at the end of it, like, all three of us felt like our hearts were a lot lighter, let's put it that way. So I hope it does for all our fans what it's done for us.
Well, this is how you know, like, we're super death metal kids, because I just love heavy, and you guys are such a sick band. But the heaviness of it makes me very happy. So I feel exactly what you're talking about. I feel that. And then, like, you know, when people kind of talk about like, oh, this is a really heavy album, it's kind of like a disclaimer, you know, like, hey man, you know, it's going to be like really aggressive in your face or whatever. But like, the way that I experience your heavy is very uplifting.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, this is what it's about. It's about talking about these dark things, talking about these emotional moments, but like doing it in a, like you said, an uplifting way. Like, it's not just all doom and gloom. It's like, you know, there is a way out of the darkness. Like, do you know what I mean? You can claw your way back. And like I said before, like, everybody has value and everybody has self-worth. It's just about realizing that.
So funny that you said that, because those were like two of the things that I was like struggling with, like coming out of a bad situation, was like, I don't know, it's just super, it's like kind of psychic funny to me, because not everyone like says those two things. So it's super funny to me that you mentioned those two things.
Yeah.
Because like those were two things I was like struggling with to like feel myself again. So
Yeah.
I just thought that was very funny that it's the second time you said it. So I let the first one go, but I was like, oh, you said it again. I was like, yeah, those are those two things, man.
Well, that's what it's about, though. That's what it's
Yeah.
about. That's what the whole out like. There's a running theme throughout the whole album where it's all about like, yeah, it sounds like it's all dark, and it is dark. It's real dark, but it is about finding your self-worth and finding your value and realizing that and clawing your way out of the darkness. That's what that is literally what the album's about. It's about hope. It's a dark album, and in times it's a very hopeless album. Like, but it's also a very hopeful album.
So I want to know the story about how you got into music, how you got into metal, but even more so like how you made the transition from metal to heavy metal and to death metal. Because that's it's a slope. So how'd you get there?
So when I was in primary school, this is how far back it goes. I must have been about 10 years old, maybe. I was in primary school, so I was definitely 10 or maybe younger. And me and my friend David, he was my best mate in primary school. I went round to his house for dinner after school one day. And we were downstairs, like playing whatever. And David had an older brother called Andy. And he was upstairs, and Andy was like a teenager or whatever. And I could hear like this fucking noise coming from upstairs. And for ages, I was just like in my head, I just remember thinking like, what the fuck is that? Like, what is that? I'd never heard anything like it. So eventually, after a while, I said to David, I was like, what's that noise coming from upstairs? What is that? And he was like, oh, that's my brother Andy. He'll be listening to music. And I was like, what music is this? Like, so anyway, David took me up and like knocked on Andy's bedroom door. And Andy opens the door and he's like, what's up? And he was like, oh, Jason was wondering what you're listening to. And then his face lit up and he was like, I'm listening to Fear Factory. Come on in. So we went in, and then he's like playing me all these fucking Fear Factory albums. And what else is he playing? Metallica, Machine Head, Cold Chamber. Like, he was playing me loads of shit. And I was loving it because I was just like, I've never heard anything like this before. Before this, all I'd ever heard was Michael Jackson and fucking Duran Duran and shit like that my dad had listened to. And yeah. And so anyway, Andy's like proper buzzing, like showing me all this stuff because obviously I'm showing some kind of interest in it. And he's showing me Pantera, Slayer. And anyway, like when I was going home, when my mum came to pick me up, before I left, he was like, oh yeah, do you want to borrow this? And he lent me Demanufacture and Obsolete by Fear Factory on CD. And I took them home and I copied them. This is how long ago it was. It was in the 90s. I copied them to my to a cassette tape because I had like one of those fucking like big Alba stereo systems like in the house where it's like you put the CD in and then it has a tape deck in it and you could just record on the tape deck like whatever was playing from the CD. So I recorded both albums, both CDs onto different cassette tapes, and then I'd play them like in my little cassette Walkman like on the way to school every day. And and that's basically where it all started. So it was all Andy's fault, really. And
started off heavy then with
it started off heavy like straight away with Fear Factory and all that shit. And and then not long after that, Slipknot's first album dropped, and that was it. I was a maggot then.
That's awesome.
Absolute bona fide 100% maggot. Like, I loved it. Like I was obsessed with Slipknot. Like, I'm sure many other millions were like, but as soon as that first album came out, I was hooked. And that was like the heaviest thing that I'd ever heard at that point. Because there was so much death metal. Like, now when I look back at it, Like, especially on the first two Slipknot albums, so much death metal in there. There's blast beats in there before I even knew what blast beats were. Like these riffs, these slams, these breakdowns, these like his vocals are like so harsh on them first two albums. And yeah, I was just obsessed with Slipknot. And then from Slipknot, then I started finding out about bands like Cannibal Corpse, and then who else did I like? Oh, Decapitated and Nile and Carcass, Napalm Death. And then after that, I've met Sean, who's the guitarist in Ingested. We met in 2004 when I auditioned to be the vocalist in Age of Suffering, which was like the proto band before Ingested. And I was listening to some death metal like Cannibal Corpse, Nile and Decapitated, stuff like that. And he gave me a CD with a load of death metal bands on it, like loads of stuff that I'd never heard before. And he was like, this is basically where I want to go with the band. Like, and it had Dying Fetus, Suffocation, Severe Torture. Fucking hell, what else did it have on it? I can't even remember like the shit that it had on it, but it had loads of stuff on it. And yeah, from there it just became a rabbit hole. And then obviously with being friends with Sean, who was already like quite into death metal and grindcore and stuff, like it just spiraled. And then yeah, and that's basically where the love of death metal came from.
That's awesome.
That was my musical journey.
Wow. You started off really, I'm so surprised you started off so heavy. It took me a long time to get there.
Really?
Oh yeah.
What did you start off on?
Rock radio, like Crossfade Seether, Dashboard Confessional, Limp Bizkit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Limp Bizkit as well.
Love one. I've always like sick. Even when people hated them for a few years, it was like y'all
really
are all
hated them because they were big.
Like everything.
Yeah.
Like everything. Like,
I went to see Limp Bizkit on the hot dog flavored water tour, and it was fucking amazing. It was so sick. Godsmack opened for him as well. It was sick.
That's really amazing. Good. Damn. So what year? So how old were you when you got to? Because I remember we were like, I think you and I are like, no.
I'm 35.
How old are you?
35.
Okay, I'm 34. Okay.
Yeah, so about the same age, yeah.
You went early because like I didn't know. Yeah. I was just listening to Chocolate Starfish, Hot Dog Flavored Water, like on CD, but like nowhere near going to shows or anything like that. How old were you when you went?
I think it was about 13 or 14.
Okay.
Yeah, about 13 or 14. Because okay. I remember the first show I ever went to was Disturbed, and that was a week before I went to see Limp Bizkit on the hot dog flavored water tour.
You got an early start. That's cool.
Yeah, my mum was pretty cool with that shit.
That's
like awesome. She just let me either she was pretty cool or she just didn't care. Like I don't know, but she let me go, so I can't complain too much. But yeah, I went to I used to go to loads of shows actually. I went to see Fear Factory on the Digimortal tour as well. That was fucking badass as well.
And
the first time I ever saw Slipknot though was on the Iowa tour, and that was one of the best gigs one of the best shows I've ever been to in my life. I've seen them since, but nothing will ever top that. The first time seeing them, and it was an arena tour as well when they just put out Iowa.
Wasn't it? Where were you at the Slipknot Stadium show?
Well, when I went to see Limp Bizkit, it was at the same arena, Manchester Arena, and I was on the back row on the upper tier. So I was as far away as you could humanly be from the stage. But it was still sick though, because it was like the second show that I'd ever been to. I was only like 13. When I went to see Slipknot, I got standing tickets. And I was like not very far from the stage. Like it was fucking wild. Like it was amazing. I was how old would I have been? It had been like 2001, that, wouldn't it? So I'd have been 14, maybe. Yeah, 14.
I love that you start going to shows so early. I didn't start till I was like 17, 18.
Yeah.
So good for you, man.
Yeah, it was sick. I took my
Yeah.
daughter to see Slipknot and Behemoth,
Oh.
and she's 8. And she loved it. And I took her to see Monasteries as well in Manchester. They're like a UK band. They're really good. And she loved that as well.
That's so funny. I'm good friends with Brian Fair and Abigail Fair, singer for Shadows Fall.
Oh, right. Yeah. I like Shadows Fall a lot.
Yeah. I forget. I'm trying to think back, but like there's their kids, like I can't totally remember the story, but like I think it's with Arabella, their older daughter. I think they were touring a lot with Drowning Pool at the time, and their kids like have been to so many their kids have been to like so many Drowning Pool shows, and like I grew up with Drowning Pool, so like those, like those were the early shows I was going to. Like Drowning Pool, those were like my, good years of like when I really love metal. Like I started off with those shows, but they take their kids to Drowning Pool shows, and their kids like would go to school singing the lyrics, so they had to change it from "Let the bodies hit the floor, let the bodies hit the floor" to "There's somebody at the door, there's somebody at the door, there's somebody at the door."
Amazing.
There's somebody at the door. And like their kids like grew up loving metal. So that's funny. It's like
that is funny. Yeah. That's amazing.
Good. So so did you die in the Slipknot pit?
No, but I was so excited I nearly started hyperventilating. Because I had a Joey Jordison mask that I'd made myself.
That's awesome.
I was so excited. Like I was like, and I had this mask on that was just covering my face, and I'm like, so my mate had to pull it off. He was just like, "You all right?" He pulled it off. I'm like, because I was just like so excited. I loved that band so much. Like. Wow. It was crazy.
Props to you for like getting in there young.
Yeah, you got to though, haven't you?
Well, like, I don't know, man. So I went to Code Orange. Like this was 4 months ago, something like that. I got rocked in the pit. Let me tell you.
Really?
Like, I posted on social media. I had this huge bruise, like this size bruise on my arm. And I was just like, holy fuck. Like I wanted to go in the pit for them because I love them. Went in the pit and I got like everything that could happen to you, like pulled back, punched, hit, like, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it happens to the best of us though, doesn't it? Like, do you know what I mean? I stay away from the pits now because I'm just like, nah, man. I can see what happens from standing on the stage, man. I'm not going in there. I was like, I'll have to play a show. Like, I'm not getting a broken tooth. Like, forget that.
Like, it is so,
I just hide at the back now. I'm that guy.
Well, I'm glad that you can be cool, like in the thing, like even.
Oh no, I'm not cool. I'll usually be like dancing or like head banging, but I'll be like stood right far at the back. You know, with all these guys who just stand there like that.
Josta calls them the impress me bros, like impress me bro.
Yeah, totally. Like those guys. But I'll be stood there and I'll be like going, I'll be like wiling out. So I look totally out of place.
Yeah.
Because they're all stood there standing still with the fucking miserable faces on them and their arms folded. And I'm just like, yeah. I still have fun even though I'm at the back.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I've always done that. I've always rocked out. Like whenever I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I love this band. So I do have to mention, because it's so funny, and I know we've been going for a while. I've got like a few more questions and we'll be good. But you grew up in a pub, and that's such a unique way to go through life. I mean, like, what'd you learn? What'd you see?
I learned how to play pool.
Tell me all the things.
I learned how to play pool. It's where I fell in love with boxing because I used to watch the boxing with my dad, like live on like ITV, I think it was on, in the 90s. So yeah, like I learned that. I learned that the top of the foam on top of a beer is not ice cream. I also learned that
That's
at a
true.
very young age.
Oh, that's good.
Granddad tricked me with that. Like, I was like, "What's that?" He's like, "Ice cream," and I'm like, "Can I have some?" He's like, "Yeah." So he like scooped some of the froth off the top of his fucking bitter or whatever the fuck it was that he was drinking, and there you go, yeah. Like, so I'd just be like, so I learned that at a very young age. But yeah, so it was so it was my nana and my granddad's pub, and I basically when I wasn't in school, so basically every weekend and every like school holiday, whenever I wasn't in school, I was there. I was at my nana's pub, and it was in a little town in the arsehole of the countryside, middle of nowhere, middle of like Derbyshire countryside in the Peak District, which is like I wouldn't call it a mountain range, but it's like a hill range in northwest England, and it's really beautiful, to be honest. Which is probably why I like woods and trees and like old buildings and like castles and shit like that. That's probably why I like that kind of shit, because I grew up there pretty much. And but yeah, it's like this little village, like in the middle of the countryside. And yeah, she had a pub called the Pineapple Inn, and yeah, I used to be there every single weekend, every single school holiday. I'd play pool for free, obviously. I wasn't paying for it. And so my dad, who's really, really good at pool, he taught me how to play pool there. So I'd play that with my dad and my granddad. I learned how to play dominoes, darts, loads of different cards, games. And yeah, and I fell in love with boxing as well.
Awesome.
And
Okay, so besides all
upstairs,
that,
I used to play Lego. Like my nana absolutely fucking loves Lego. So I've got them all still upstairs in my attic. She bought me every birthday and every Christmas. I'd get a Lego castle set, you know, like the really fucking badass ones. So I've got like all of those from like the 90s. And I used to like just have them all built and set up all around the upstairs. And like I'd be like having little wars and battles with which is probably why I collect this shit. Thinking about it, it just dawned on me then. I was just like, oh, it all makes sense. So yeah, so that's it really. It was amazing. And like obviously that town, that village being where it is, like surrounded by the countryside, like so we'd always go for like nature walks and stuff, like through all the valleys and the woods, and like we'd go up to all these like places like Castleton, which has got like an old castle there, and we'd go to Lyme Park, which was like an old manor house. And yeah, my nanny used to take us everywhere. Like, it was ace. I had a good upbringing there.
I love that. Excuse me, I had to clear my throat. Okay. Yeah, but like that's all lovely. But what's the craziest thing you've ever seen while you were there? Because that's so PG. Like you must. What I'm saying is like you must have seen like some really wild things, right?
Oh, I'd seen fights and shit like that.
Yeah,
like, there was always fights in the pub. Not always, very rarely.
Yeah.
But there'd be fights in the pub. That was about it, really. I mean,
cool.
It was like I said, it was like a village. Have you ever seen the movie Hot Fuzz?
No.
No. The Simon Pegg one.
No.
Where they're like policemen.
Nope.
And right, well, the reference lost then. But it's a really
everyone
like
else, though. For everyone else.
It's a really like insulated, isolated village. Everybody knows everybody. Like there's a village store. Like I'll tell you what there was that was cool. That's still there. There's a sweets factory there, like a candy factory.
Oh, cool.
Called Swizzles and Matlow.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
What kind of candy?
Oh shit. Yeah, and they used to do this weird thing like I don't know whether they still do it there now, because I've not really been there for a long time. But They used to do this thing. They did two things actually that were like proper like little village things. They used to have this thing that they called the carnival, which was like people in the village would like dress up trucks and shit, like, you know, with like all decorations and like then they'd dress up in like all fancy dress. Like my granddad used to dress as a clown. And and then they'd like slowly drive like a parade through the village, like through the main, like down like the main street in the village, like really slow, and everybody would come out of the little cottages and be like, "Oh, I like, hiya, Susan, you all right, Sheila?" All this shit, and so that was a weird fucking thing. That was really bizarre. And the other weird thing that they used to do, so there was this river that used to run right through the village, and it literally went like so. And my nana's pub was here, and then there was a road that went in front of it, and on the other side of this road, literally, was the river, like this big ass fucking river. And they used to do this thing every year called the duck race, and what they'd do is they'd get like fucking hundreds of like, you know, yellow rubber ducks, like hundreds of them, and they'd all have numbers on it, and everyone in the village would like pay £1 and like for a specific numbered duck.
Yeah.
And then what they'd do is like at the start of the village, where the village starts, like where the river is, throw all the fucking ducks in the river, right? And then they'd all sail to the other side, like down the river to the other side of the village, right? And then it was whichever number was first across the finish line would win all the money.
That's awesome.
And they did that every year. Like, and I used to just fucking sit there outside the pub and just watch all these fucking hundreds of ducks just go past the pub. Like, it's so like, now I'm thinking back on it, I'm like, that's so fucking weird. But yeah, I never won as well. I never won. And my nana always paid £1 and bought me a duck, and I never won.
Oh, darn it. Well, boo.
So yeah, I mean, like, really,
awesome.
I mean, there's not many crazy stories that I witnessed.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for, a duck story. That's
just
exactly what I was angling
shit.
for. Exactly what I was looking for. Well, it's funny you said clown. Like my girlfriends and I, for my friend's birthday, we're going to go to New Orleans, and she wants us to all dress up like clowns and go around. So that'll be funny. Are you afraid of clowns at all?
No.
Okay. Well,
there's only one thing I'm scared of. Sharks.
Oh,
I have like
snakes.
Nah, I love snakes, but I fucking like can't, like, even just saying it, and which makes me think about them, has made me feel physically uncomfortable. That's how bad it is. And I'm sat in my house, which is nowhere near any body of water, and I'm just like, it's made me start to sweat as well. Like just even thinking about it, that's really weird. It's so weird. But yeah.
So do you have like issues being in the ocean?
Yeah, massively. Like I'll go to the beach. But the thing is, though, I really enjoy swimming. I love swimming. But whenever I go to the beach, I will go in the water maybe up to my waist, maybe, and that is it. I can't go any further, and I'll only do it, and then basically I'll be there, and then as soon as I have a thought about it, I'll have to get out.
Yeah,
because I'll start freaking out, basically.
I have the same so I'm terrified of them, but I'm fascinated by them as well. So I love shark movies. Have you ever seen Deep Blue Sea?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay.
I am fascinated by sharks, but I'm like absolutely terrified of them. Like, like I've only just, like, I literally watched Deep Blue Sea, like with my family, like 2 weeks ago. I'd seen it years ago.
Yeah.
But and the wife was like, "Why are you putting this on?" And I was like, "Because I feel like I can handle it." And she was like, "Okay." And I was like, "I feel like I can handle it. Like I feel like I'll be all right with it." Yeah. And then I watched it and I was fine with it.
Yeah.
But do you know why I was fine with it? I realized because the sharks in it are all CG.
Yeah.
None of them are real, and they don't look real either. Like, it's real ones that scare the shit out of me. Because it's like I'll be scrolling through YouTube, like when you're doom scrolling, and then like when you're on YouTube Shorts, and then I'll be scrolling, and then it'll be a fucking video of a fucking real great white shark, and I will fucking launch my phone, like, because I'll just be like, oh my god, why is that? And then I'll have to go back on it to make sure I give the video a thumbs down so that it doesn't recommend videos like that to me. I'm just like, no, why have you done that? Yeah, it's pretty irrational. Because I mean, when am I gonna fucking go? I'm never gonna put myself in a position where I'm near one. Like, so why? Like, I don't understand why I'm so scared.
I'm like that with snakes. Like, saying the word snake makes me uncomfortable. I saw once, like, since I was a small child, I have to check the toilet every single time. Really? Well, yeah, there's like all these things. In there? Yes, they can. So, like irrational fears, God, how many years, check every time. It's like irrational, but you have to check every single time you have to check, make sure there's not a snake. But I'm that way with snakes, and like I have to do the same thing every now and then. So like a snake video will pop up and it's like, fuck you, like, fuck you. Like, bye. Yeah, like, hate that. But I did just post, you would have hated this. I did just post an Instagram story where a great white was like,
I felt like a wave, like, go over my body when you said those words,
Okay, I'll make it quick. Okay, so a great white, there was a scuba diver who wasn't paying attention. A great white came behind him and like opened his things, and then like the diver looked and like went like that and pushed the shark up, but like it was a great white who like came through and was opening his, there you go. Sorry, I don't want to be a jerk. God.
That's so bad. That's so scary.
I just posted it like 2 or 3 days ago. So I really, we would have been talking about it had you have seen it, apparently.
Oh my God.
Yeah. There you go.
No, that's terrifying. Like, literally when you were telling me about that, then I was like covering my face because I was just like imagining it. I was like, this is the worst.
Okay, we'll get off it. I'm that way with snakes, and like every now and then, like I'll go somewhere and like people think it's funny to like throw a fake snake on you. Like, even if it's a little wooden one, I like start screaming, run outside the house and run down the street. Like,
nah, that's not cool. Not if you've got like a proper fear of it.
It's happened to me where people don't know and they're just think they're funny. Or like I was at my best friend's house and her mom like threw her nephew's like fake snake at me. And she didn't know. And I just like, started screaming and freaking out,
Fucking hell.
Yeah, it's fun. Oh, well, those are fears.
Yep.
Nope. Bring no snakes. And yep. I was going to say, like, no one bring sharks to the shows, but that's one thing that people do. Sometimes I've been out, like, this used to happen in Deep Ellum when I lived in Dallas, and people would bring huge snakes out to shows and like put them like huge snakes and have them out on their, whatever shoulders. Right. I would freak out, run away, and then be not paying attention. And I just like look over and the dude's like right there and the snake's right there. And I'm like, oh my God, like not people used to bring snakes out to shows all the time. And I'd be like, what the fuck? Yeah, I know. So these are fears, yay.
Like a therapy session this.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, that was enough intense therapy. No more. Let's talk about the tours you have coming up and we'll end on that.
All right.
So first one is the Pain Remains tour, and shows are already selling out. That's the US tour. Ingested is on it. They have a really hard to read logo. In metal fashion, Ingested is not an easy metal logo to read. So I had to go and like look at your logo. I was like, oh, okay. I did put that. I was like, that's the Ingested logo. But they are going on tour with Lorna Shore. That'll be awesome. So those are US dates already selling out. Anything you want to say about that tour?
I'm just mega excited. Like, obviously, Lorna Shore are the band of the moment and they're killing it. Like, we're good friends with them, and I've got a hell of a lot of respect for them. Like us, they fucking work their asses off, and they deserve everything that they're getting at the moment. And one thing I would like to add is to all these fucking people in all these bands who are talking like shit and that, and fucking whinging and trying to gatekeep and shit about Lorna Shore and that. Like, what they need to remember is that a fucking high tide raises all ships. So all these kids that are listening to Lorna Shore and all these new fucking like death metal and deathcore fans that are listening to Lorna Shore, what else do you think they're gonna start listening to? They'll hear Lorna Shore and they'll be like, "Oh my god, this is so sick. What else sounds like this?" And then they'll start listening to other shit as well. Like, that's how fucking people get into music. Like, I wouldn't be into this music if I didn't fucking find Slipknot. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so it's like, stop fucking gatekeeping and fucking appreciate that they're bringing new fucking blood and new fans into our fucking genres. Because it is our genres. Like, do you know what I mean? It's not just one person's genre. It's all bands.
Yeah.
So a high tide raises all ships. So like, all like, more power and more fucking love and respect to fucking Lorna Shore for doing what they're doing. Like I said, they fucking work the fucking balls off and they deserve it. And it's good for everybody else in the scene as well. I mean, like, look at this fucking tour. It's stacked. It's absolutely stacked. Lorna Shore, Aborted, Ingested, Angel Maker, and Of Sulfur. Like, is there a more stacked lineup? If you're into death metal or deathcore, is there a more stacked lineup this year? No. Like,
Are
no
you not
chance.
entertained?
Like, exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, the proof's in the pudding. Like, all the fucking shows are selling out. Like, loads of them are selling out, and the ones that aren't sold out have got low ticket warnings. So it's gonna be absolutely mental, that tour. So I just can't wait to get out there. Our new album comes out on November the 4th as well, which is like a week into that tour. So yeah, it's fucking exciting. It's exciting. So yeah, I just can't wait. Can't wait.
Yeah, and that tour is kind of far off too. It's like a few months away and it's already selling out. That is rare. That's very rare.
When's it start?
Like
last week of October.
Yeah, so like month and a half-ish. Okay, so like month and a half. But like selling out this early, that's very rare.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like I said, they're the band of the moment. Like, they're killing it. They're absolutely killing it. So it's going to be a hell of a tour. I'm really fucking excited for that one.
Killing it like a great white. Okay, and your favorite band of all time, I'm assuming Cannibal Corpse.
Oh yeah.
I mean, hello.
That's gonna be sick.
Like, have you played shows with them before?
Yeah, we did. Our second ever US tour was Summer Slaughter 2016. And that was with Cannibal Corpse. They were headlining, and it was amazing. And also, they are fucking solid live. They are so good live. They literally sound like they do on CD. But obviously, it's like you've got the visual of fucking Corpse Grinder giving it this. Like, and also in addition, they are the nicest guys ever. They are so nice. Like, every day they'd come round and check if everyone was all right. And you're all right. Like, and all this shit. And you just feel like, you're so nice. Like, this is so cool. Like, and they inspired me to touring with Cannibal Corpse, inspired me to be like that when we headline. So whenever we have a headline tour, I always like go out of my way to like introduce myself to people, make sure that everyone's okay. Do you need anything? If you need anything, just give me a shout. Like, because when you're headlining, it's your responsibility because you're the band. Like, so it's like the way that they behaved and the way that they treated us and every other band on that tour inspired me to be like that, because I was just like, I want to be like that. Because we've toured with other bands like when they've been headlining, like back in the day, and they weren't very nice to tour with. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've toured with bands that have been like, when they say like, oh, never meet your idols. yeah, we've toured with some bands like that, and it was just like to go from touring with bands like that or playing shows with bands that behave like that to then touring with Cannibal Corpse, who like actually gave a shit about you and actually gave a shit like if you were okay, and oh, if you need anything, give us a shout. Like that was inspiring. Like, not only are they a fucking great band, a legendary band, and they kill it every night on stage, but for them to be the way that they were, like, inspired me a lot. And that's why I try to be like that. And I just try and, if we're headlining, I want to look after people. I want to make sure that there's no problems, and that if there is any problems like that, they feel like they can come and talk to us. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah, that's lovely.
that's what I got from Cannibal Corpse, basically.
Well, my favorite thing about like people in the music industry, I've always said like the heavier the music, the nicer the people are. And I've always like really cared about like who people are. Like if your music is great but you suck, don't like you.
Yeah.
It's always been really important to me. So that's awesome that they're such great guys. And that's really good to know about them.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
great.
They're great. They're absolutely great. But yeah, I get what you mean about that. Like, because the bands, like, I mean, I'm not going to talk shit. I'm not going to name any names.
Yeah.
Like, but it's like bands that I really liked that we've played shows with or whatever, or been on their show, and then they've been dicks.
Mm-hmm.
I've never listened to them ever again. Like, and it's not like, oh, my music taste suddenly changes and it's like, oh, I don't like the music anymore. It's just like, I can't really listen to you anymore, because whenever I try to listen to you, I just remember that you were a dick and it puts me off. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Absolutely.
it's not like your music's bad. Like, it's not like it's made your music bad, because your music's obviously not bad.
Yeah.
I just don't want to listen to it anymore. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's been some shows I've gone to that like they hooked me up, they took care of me, which is awesome and great, but I met them and they were fucking horrible. And normally I like save my passes and I have like a little pass wall and I'll just like stick it up there or whatever. And there's been a few times I've come home, ripped the pass off and like put it in the garbage and was like, fuck you, bye.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, I don't care about you at all. Bye. Yeah.
Nah, I totally get that. I've been there, done that.
Yeah. I think is it the Ashes Lie Still where you guys film at a castle, or is it the other one?
Yeah. So that is it's called Revesby Abbey, and it's a really, really old manor house that's all like dilapidated and all fucking falling apart and shit. Yeah, it's but it's a proper manor house. Like, like the shit that you see in like Downton Abbey. There you go. It's that. It's basically like that.
Yeah.
Like a big manor house, but it's like fucked. Like, but the reason why it's called Revesby Abbey is because it's built on top of a fucking ancient monastery, like a monk's monastery. So when you go down into like the basement underneath the manor house, it's like this old, like creepy as fuck, like old monastery, like an old abbey, like where all the monks used to live. And then there's all these fucking tunnels underneath it that just go on forever into the dark. And it's like the creepiest fucking thing. And we filmed 2 videos there. So we filmed Ashes Lie Still, which is the one with Julia singing, and she sets the house on fire. And then we filmed that in the manor house. And then we filmed the video for Shadows in Time downstairs in the remains of this ancient monastery.
Wow.
And it was so creepy. Like, I kept hearing shit.
Did you?
I know it was just like probably like a fucking rat or something. But when you're down there mooching around, or maybe not, but like, I mean, when you're down there mooching around in the dark, and you can't really see anything, and all you've got is like your phone torch, and then you turn around and everybody else is like fucked off into a different room, like, you're gonna start hearing shit, aren't you? Like, you're gonna start fucking hearing shit. I was just like, nope, I'm out of here. Like, I fucked off. I was like, nah, I'm not
That's
staying down
so
here on my own. Fuck that.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah, it's a beautiful building. I mean,
Yeah.
even like where it's off like fucked up and shit, like it's a really beautiful building, and it is really cool, but it's very creepy.
Well, I have like, if you want to see it, I'll send it to you. But I have like pictures with ghosts in the background where you
No
can
way.
like see ghosts. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have to send me that.
Yeah. There's like ghosts, and I've had like lots of supernatural things. Like, stop. What?
Fucking
Sorry, I thought you were gonna be like, "There's a snake
no,
behind
no,
you."
no,
And I
no,
was
no,
like,
no, no,
"That's
no, no.
shitty and mean," and
You
I
just
don't like it.
reminded me of
Stop.
something. You just reminded me of
What?
something.
Did a
When you
snake?
asked me about
Stop
crazy
it,
shit.
'cause now you're fucking with me. I bet
No,
you
no,
are.
no, I'm not. When you asked me about crazy shit,
Yeah.
there was a ghost in the fucking pub.
Oh.
There was a ghost in the
there
pub.
you go.
There was a ghost in the pub, and he used to turn all the fucking my nana and my granddad would like clean all the glasses at the end of the night.
Yeah.
And then put them all on the shelves upside down.
Uh-huh.
And then some mornings they'd come down and the glasses would all be the other way around across the bar. Yeah. I remember my nana, I kind of remember this, but it's like, you know, like one of them things where it's like, you don't know whether you remember it because you were so young, or you just think you remember it because somebody told you about it.
Yeah.
Well, one night, the pub was full. I think it was a Friday night from what my nana told me. And one night I just came like running. I don't know how old I was, like, but I was a kid. I came running down. My nana had put me to bed and everything. And they've got a pub full of people on a Friday night. And apparently I came running down the stairs from the house upstairs, screaming into the pub, like screaming my head off. And apparently I'd seen a man at the end of the hallway. Yeah. That's and my dad said when he was sleeping in that room where I'd seen the guy apparently stood in front of this doorway, that was the room that my dad used to sleep in. And he said that he was sleeping in that room one night and someone grabbed his legs.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So you're talking about the ghost. When you asked me if anything weird had happened, I fucking totally forgot about that until we were talking about ghosts a minute ago.
So
but yeah.
Do they know who it is? Like, do they like? Oh,
my nana and my granddad used to say it was someone called Ambrose. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Gotcha. I don't know whether that was a name that they just made up for him or whether. I don't think they ever did a Ouija board. So
well, and no one ever should. Don't ever touch a Ouija board ever.
But yeah, I don't know where they got that name from anyway. But I remember that they used to say he was called Ambrose. Oh. But I don't know where they got that name from. I'll have to ask.
Yeah, well, I love that stuff. Like, I love those stories. I love those movies. And yeah, shit's real. Like,
yeah. So there you go. There was some weird shit that happened in New Mills. There we go.
There you go. Yeah. See, I knew we could get some good out of that. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've had a really good chat. Just want to say, anybody who's listening, thanks for being a fan of Ingested. Cheers for the support. Like we don't get to do what we do without you guys. So like literally you are the fuel that keeps our world turning. So I can never thank you all enough. But keep your eyes out for the new album, Ashes Lie Still. It drops November the 4th through Metal Blade Records. It's available worldwide. If you go to ingested.co.uk, there's worldwide links to get it, to pre-order it in your area. And yeah, we'll see you on the road either with Lorna Shore and Aborted this fall in the US, or with Cannibal Corpse and Dark Funeral in the spring in Europe. So yeah, and thank you again for having me. Yeah, cheers. Hopefully I'll see you soon.